Welcome, Greek U Nation, to episode number 616 of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Mike Ayalon, CEO of Greek University. I'm a speaker and an author. Our sixth book just came out. It's called I'm So Beautiful, It's Ridiculous. Unleashing and promoting strength, self-worth, and real sisterhood. So go and pick up that book on Amazon or Barnes& and Noble today. We call these episodes the Fraternity Foodie Podcast because there is nothing like great food to bring college students together. Fun fact, I was so lonely my first semester of freshman year at the University of Buffalo that I was ready to drop out of school and start my career without a college degree. This is what I told my dad verbatim, okay, on the phone. And this was all over the fact that I wanted so desperately to belong. But the 30,000 students that we had on campus felt very overwhelming to me at first. And it wasn't until I joined the fraternity and had a much more manageable 60 guys to get to know that everything kind of fell into place. And I found my home on campus. I truly believe that every college student has a home somewhere on your campus. You just need to check out all of the organizations that exist. Many of them have hundreds, if not thousands, of organizations to join, and find one that truly fits for you. And today, we're going to talk a little bit more about finding your purpose, finding your identity, and belonging with our next guest. God used an avalanche that took Nick Stevens' daughter in 2008 to put him on a path to help dads and granddads fulfill their unique roles for their family. Building heritage is a God-given responsibility and an opportunity. Welcome to the show, Nick.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Listen, it is
I'm very
great
excited
having you
about
on
what
the
you're
show.
doing and what we're going to do today.
Yeah, I think we're going to get some real work done today, and I really appreciate your vantage point. I've been thinking at some point that I would need to do a TEDx talk. It's one of those things that a lot of speakers do, and I feel like my talk is going to revolve around a lot about what you talk about because I do
Cool.
agree with you in every sense of the word and what your mission is. So to start off, can you share a little bit more with our audience about your journey from your time at Texas A&M and how your experience of loneliness on campus actually shaped your life's work today?
Yeah, it's huge. It sounds a lot like yours. I kid you not. Yeah, I went from a college of 2,800 students, and I was active in multiple, we didn't have fraternities or sororities, but we had clubs. That Kappa Sigma was one of our clubs,
Mm.
and I was an officer. I was a beau for a girls' club, and so I mean, I was way over the top busy. I didn't do enough studying, but we won't go there. Then I went to Texas A&M for my master's and my graduate program as an education. And I went from 2,800 students, very involved, to 28,000 students, and I knew nobody. Walking around campus, you've got this mass of people passing by, and I'm looking here, you're like, I don't know a person. And it's the first time in my life I really experienced loneliness.
Mm.
And it kind of rocked me. And I didn't know. And I learned something in that experience. Well, one was I got to go find it. And throughout my life, I have seen that if I want a friend, generally speaking, I got to go knock on the door. I got to make the contact. I got to reach out. I got to be invest. And the second thing was then that thing like you did of finding at Texas A&M. It was a ministry group that I got involved in, and we made trips to do youth programs and places, and it made me survive Texas A&M.
Yeah.
And then my life, from that point, I realized in my studies, education, a master's in education is what I got from A&M. I discovered that I love the aha moment. I love teaching. I love being a part of that development experience. And as I was preparing to teach, I found out that teachers really only impact a small degree in comparison to their parents. And so I got kind of discouraged with some of that stuff, but I left that, and so I went off. Instead of doing a teaching, I had a degree in a career in information technology and leadership and management. But I've always taught. I ended up homeschooling my family, and have loved kind of doing that investment of education into the lives of people since then.
Mm.
So that's where when God pushed me over the edge with the avalanche, teaching and writing and being a voice to help men and dads and granddads really understand what their job is where I spent the last 15 years of my
Yeah.
life.
This loneliness thing, this is really an epidemic in the sense that there are some studies that are out there and they ask men and women, by the way, how many close friends do you have? And when I say close friends, not an acquaintance, I'm talking about somebody that you really feel close with, that you're willing to share your deepest secrets with.
Yeah.
And over time, let's say the last 20 or 30 years, over time, people have less and less close friends. We're going in the wrong direction.
That's right.
And so I guess I'm asking you, and this is very common today. Why do you think loneliness is so pervasive in this younger generation today?
Well, being an old guy, I've seen a lot of different things come and go.
Yeah.
But the I'm going to point a finger first of all at smartphones. It just my wife and I just get kind of almost belligerent about going to a restaurant and across the restaurant is a family of four or five, and every last one of them head down looking at a phone and no conversation. None. We've lost at home the dinner conversation where everybody sits around and we talk,
Yeah.
and we learn how to communicate. I remember my first date. I don't know when it was, but I was nervous anyway. I was a nerd. Okay, I have to admit it. So I was not good with the ladies, and so I was going out with my first date in high school, and so I asked my mom. I said, "Mom, what do I talk about? What do I do?" And so my mom gave me this wisdom and said, "Son, learn how to ask the right questions."
Mm.
And so by learning to just ask questions, my brain is where they are, and that's a skill that seems so simple, but we've lost the ability to do it. I watch my grandson, with his phone and with his games, and he gets into a family situation and just he goes
Nothing.
quiet. So
Yeah.
anyway, I think that's I don't know a huge piece of it, and the second thing I think that I turn to is our culture is is um, is worshiping, idolizes talent and skills. The best of the best, the entertainer, the Doctor Strange from a Marvel universe that he's the best. So he's got value based upon that. And so we try to find a career and bury ourselves into being the best of the best. Now I'm going to be, achieve fulfillment through the things I do. And that's the wrong thing. That message is wrong. That's a lie. The truth is our value comes from the people we touch. Our value comes from finding a career that I can touch someone's lives. And as a second thing, I'll get paid for it. And if I do it really well, I'll get paid quite a bit. But it's the same thing of finding how to invest in other people,
Mm.
which I think is the struggle we're having today with this loneliness epidemic.
Yeah, well, listen, I completely agree with everything that you said about the smartphones, and then finding your purpose in terms of helping other people. I think that's what we are placed on this planet to do. It took me
Yeah.
a long time to figure that out. I
Yeah.
remember in the beginning of my career, it was all about acquiring things. I needed to have that shiny white new Mustang in the driveway because I earned it, because now I'm a college graduate, right? So somehow I've earned it. It's all about me. And then, eventually you get to this point in your life, for me, maybe it's like in my 50s now. So, but it takes a while, right?
Yeah.
And eventually you realize that nobody really cares about what car you have in the driveway. Really, truly,
Yeah.
nobody cares. Okay.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
reality is, the question is, how are you helping other people? And I think that is what we're put on this planet to do. And then finally I found it. And now I'm like, oh my God, like I have this mission now, and it's like, how many people can I help? Can I help 10,
Yeah.
100, 1,000? And so,
Pay me? I don't care. I just need to touch some lives, you
That's
know?
all I need to do is touch other
That
people.
your comment though about relationships as far as because that kind of giving to someone else is where we develop relationships. Okay.
Yeah,
That's where all of a sudden people get close to me. And as my focus is men. And I look at men, have no close as a rule. It's rare if they have good close membership.
that's
I
it.
relationships.
Yeah.
I have a teaching around an intimacy pyramid, a healthy intimacy pyramid, which I won't go into, but picture a pyramid and there's hundreds of people that know me across the bottom, and there's one or two people that are very close to me, know everything about me at the top.
Mm.
And 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 we need to develop that healthy intimacy pyramid. I need to have people that know me well. I need to have people in my life that know everything about me. Nothing is kept from these one or two people. But a bigger group of people that, are friends and we like to and that builds a healthy lifestyle.
Mm.
And we've lost that. We've lost that as a culture, knowing how to have a good friend, an intimate friend, and really special people. Those that pyramid relationship is a need today. I feel
I
it.
completely agree with you. Completely agree. I'm wondering where all this is coming from because you have this new book. It's called The Power of Granddad's Voice: Seven Blessings Your Family Needs from You. And it does explore what you're talking about, the importance of intergenerational dialogue. So I'm wondering what inspired you to focus on the relationship between grandfathers and grandchildren. Where does that come from?
Well, it's a lifetime. So, in our show here, we won't go into everything, but I've been interested in it when I was in college. I became somewhat of a woman's guy, so I really got into it in college, but I was still very single. But in college, I attended what's called a marriage enrichment seminar. And the people running it were like didn't know how to charge me because they didn't have any single people coming to this thing. So it's been a lifetime pursuit. And of course the avalanche that my family of four kids, I lived for them. We homeschooled them. They loved each other. It was all about our family, but we loved adventure. And my son and daughter were experienced mountaineers. She was 20, and they were doing a winter ascent of Little Bear Peak in southern Colorado, and they were near the top and triggered an avalanche. They made a mistake and they knew better, but they triggered an avalanche and swept them down 1,000 feet. And it took my daughter, but my son survived miracle and miracle. And there was a like you said earlier, a God transaction that said, I've asked you to give my daughter, but I want you to be a father of fathers. And so it just kind of like his voice said, that's what I got to do. And
Mm.
so that put me on this path. And now that as I became a granddad, a couple of two phenomena kind of started being aware of around me. One of them was uh, a guy said once, my granddad doesn't speak very much, but when he does, everybody stops and listens. And I've seen that over and over. I've heard that commented over and over. So it grew into me that this is kind of a rule that granddad has some kind of a mystical power in his voice. And then the second thing was is I had my peers starting to become granddads. They didn't really like just free babysitting and going along with grandma to play with the kid. They loved that, but they felt like there was something more, but they didn't know what to do. And so as I researched and I dug into it, I found that there really are these seven key elements of granddad's voice that he needs to be given to his family, his grandkids, which will establish identity, my history, my possible futures, and granddad can speak to these things. So that's my passion right now.
Well, see, this is very interesting. Now we're getting somewhere really interesting. You talk about these seven questions for Granddad, and you talk about it as a way to spark soulful conversations. And you also mentioned kind of your mom instilling in you the questions that you needed to ask when you went on that first date and how to be a good conversationalist, right?
Yeah.
Can you share a couple of these questions that we're talking about and what kinds of insights or maybe even healing that they can unlock?
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's a great question. It's uh, I'm thinking from a college perspective. I'm a college kid. I'm getting ready to go home for Thanksgiving, and everybody's going to be all together. And so,
Mhm.
what can I do? And immediately, I thought of I think of a question like, "Hey, Granddad, why did you choose as your college major?" And maybe if you already know, it's like, why did you choose that as your college major? And the power of this kind of question is not necessarily to find out the answer, but to start this conversation because it's so enlightening to see the thought processes that went on in my granddad's mind and see if I'm kind of following some of those same pathways. And we will find that it's true. Another one like that I thought of is this, um, hey, Granddad, when did you know Grandma was the one? But those two questions, both are, I put them in that area of granddads sharing the blessings of heritage. It's like, where did I come from? Who am I based upon what my granddad's life was like? Does that make sense?
That makes
So that's
total
that's
sense.
one. And another one is, and this is a hard one for some granddads, is I call it the voice of transparency. Granddad needs to talk about some of his mistakes. So I think a question something like, "Hey, Granddad, what was your greatest regret from your college days?" And see what that kind of conversation can generate. But identifying what I chose some party stuff that really was a mistake, and I've suffered. And if he's willing to share some of that story, sometimes he's not, but if he is, man, that's life giving.
Man, those are some really, really great questions. Thank you for sharing that with our college students. And I was thinking too about you talking about the restaurant scene where the family of five and they're all buried in their phones, right? And for you, that's a very like icky feeling when you see that.
Yeah.
And you believe that young adults, especially college students, they need to be having these types of conversations with their granddads and intergenerational more than ever.
Yeah.
Why do you think that that is so important? Why is that important?
Oh man, it goes back. I think it goes back to the problems that we see around us. And it goes back to what we talked about earlier about loneliness
Hmm.
and the devastation of some of that stuff. Anxiety. We see anxiety around us. And, I see, with the information age, it came in place with the internet, 20 years ago. It hadn't been around forever, but college students, it's been around forever.
Right.
But before that, life was simpler. And so what college education today is limitless choices. You can do anything you want to do. Oh, and by the way, I can find out anything about the whole world by just hitting a few keystrokes.
Yes.
I can know anything about everything. And now that I'm all of a sudden got the pressure of deciding what career am I going to choose, I got to know today. You got to make your choice out of all these thousands possibilities. You got to know this thing today. And it creates anxiety. It creates, fear. What am I going to do in life? And I really firmly believe that a phone call to granddad's is going to bring a different perspective. Does that make
Hmm.
sense?
Hmm.
It's in if I'm a college kid looking at all these choices and the pressure to make decisions and a lot of money I'm investing in, and I got to get it done in a short period of time, and life comes overwhelming, life's too complicated. A lot of times, granddad, life is not that complicated.
Hmm.
Life can be pretty simple. You just need this and this, and oh, by the way, Sam, I've known you since you were born. This and this and this. I can speak into your life. Don't get distracted with all that crap. You've got this in your future, and you'll be fine. And that I think that's a real calming place for young men
Yeah.
and women.
I mean, you kind of touched on it here already. I mean, the college students today, they have their phones, they have artificial intelligence. They can just go into artificial intelligence. Let's assume for a second they're struggling with their purpose in life. They're struggling with identity. They don't really know what they were put on this earth to do. They're struggling with making choices about their major or their career. They could hop into artificial intelligence right now on their smartphone and in 2 seconds put in the things that they like to do artificial intelligence will tell them you're supposed to be a
Yeah,
plumber. I don't know, whatever it is. So
sure.
how is it that you believe that, contacting your granddad and starting to reflect on family heritage will help them to find direction when they have uncertain times?
It, there's two things that families need to invest and instill in their kids. And one is roots and the other is wings. We have to instill what family brings is roots that give me an anchor when storms just blow apart. Okay. And so that's a little bit of this identity. You can laugh at me, you can make fun of me, you can pressure me, but I know who I have been. And then the second thing is wings to explore. I really feel strongly if young people can understand that dad is an asset, dad is a friend. He's not someone I got to copy, and he's not somebody I need to push away, which is what I did trying to prove myself to myself when I was in college. I needed to prove myself, so I kind of pushed my dad away.
Mm.
He's my best asset, and so if I can trust dad, if I know dad and I'm safe with dad and I can talk to dad about anything, and granddad can fill the shoes sometimes in that place. If I've got that, I'm free to explore. I'm free to go off and try something and realize, nope, that ain't for me. And I come back home. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's that you see in a toddler, a toddler, 2 years old, 3 years old, sitting in mom's lap, sees something like, oh, it's a new toy. I've never seen that before. Jumps off, goes, gets it, and does something and it slaps them, and she cries. And where's my emotional, you know, bucket just got emptied. I got scared. Where do they go? They run back to mom, sit there in the laps for another 3 to 4 minutes till that emotional thing charges back up again, and then they're off again. So family but gives us those roots, that place to come into. If I've lost my job, it doesn't change. Maybe the roots grow deeper the older I get, in becoming into intergenerational family, and maybe my wings get bigger. But when I fall harder. So when the hurricane hits as an adult, now I still come back to family.
Yeah.
The people around me when I'm sick and about to die, it's going to be those same family members, those same
Yeah.
people that have been my anchor for lifetime.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere, right? I mean, you might change jobs, you might change
Yeah,
all kinds of things, where you live, but the family, I mean, it's always going to be that. I mean, that's who you're
yeah,
going to be left with, at the beginning and at the end of your life. They're those people.
yeah.
So
I
interesting.
love I
Yeah,
love looking at that in light of purpose and identity. They're so intertwined. A job's a job,
yeah.
but touching people's lives is where I get identity and where I get my purpose.
Yeah. I love where you live in the country. I just came back from speaking at the University of Colorado in Colorado
Yeah,
Springs.
yeah.
And then in the spring, I'm going to be speaking at Colorado School of Mines. So
Ah,
really, really, it's a beautiful place. I mean, if you've
yeah.
never been to Colorado, I'm telling you, this is what some of the most stunning scenery that you've ever seen in your life. And one of my favorite things to do is to go on hikes over there because boy, oh boy, it's so scenic. Like, here I can go on a hike here in the Nashville, Tennessee area where I go, but it's just not scenic like it is in Colorado. I'm sorry. I mean, it's just
It's unique. It's
awe-inspiring. Is
powerful.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
powerful. It's really powerful. And what I like about you is you've climbed more than 20 14ers in Colorado, and you seem to use these climbs as a metaphor for life. So I'm
Hmm.
wondering what lessons from the mountains apply to college life and leadership.
Hmm. I think my favorite is I would call the rest step. When when you're climbing a mountain, hours upon hours, sometimes days, you just drain. You've got nothing left. You can't take another step. And so enter the rest step. So what the rest step is, it's a rhythm that gets you into place where you don't stop. And in your career, whether you're a leader, if you're going down a path, you just can't stop. So you got to figure out a rhythm to be able to, despite your weaknesses, be able to take one more step. And the rest step does that. I won't go into it in detail, but ultimately you straighten up, and of course you're going uphill. So you straighten up and you lock your knee and you just kind of fall forward. So you don't take any energy to move progress this direction. So my horizontal progress doesn't take any energy. I just kind of fall forward, take my deep breath, and then straighten myself, fall forward, straighten myself, fall forward. And so it becomes a rhythm of perseverance when you're in suffering, when you've lost your way even, and I just know I got to take this next step because this will get where I'm going. So that's, I need to find that kind of a rhythm, whether it's a career, whether it's a job, and whether my college students, I gotta do one more practice, or one more thing.
Got it. All right. That's a really good lesson. I like that a lot. Fraternities like Kappa Sigma, as an example, they're really built on this concept of legacy and mentorship. These organizations like a Kappa Sigma have been around for 100, 150 years. You have a lot of alumni that are out there. You have, all kinds of leadership and mentors that are available. So I'm wondering, how can fraternity and sorority members apply these ideas that you're talking about, like intergenerational wisdom? How can they apply that within the fraternity or sorority?
You nailed me there. The intergenerational wisdom. I like that phrase. I'm gonna have to use that
Yeah.
because there is that intergenerational. That's where the secret sauce is in me. As we talked earlier about this conversation, and I see the fraternity life as extended family. So I'd kind of go back to the roots and wings things. If I'm a head of a fraternity organization, I want to help my brothers, my sisters, to feel like they've got a place to come home to. I don't want to run to mom and dad yet. I'm trying to kind of develop my own anchor. And so that can be a trial ground maybe for me, coming to some people who are loyal to me and I can trust them while I'm trying to different things. So, and then also help them figure out how to, what their options are. Maybe I can, in fraternity, I can know some people who know people and I can get you your first job.
That's right.
So roots and wings, I think that really fits there.
Yeah, that definitely fits there. And I would highly encourage all of our listeners that are affiliated with a fraternity or sorority, go out and seek some mentors. Go out and seek,
Yeah,
some of those people that have 20, 30 years worth of experience
that's
in the
good.
workforce and what it is that you're trying to do. I see it all too often that college students turn to each other, another 18-year-old, for advice. And I'm like, there's a plethora of alumni that would love to help you. Just reach out and just ask them for help. Especially
Yeah,
if they're in your organization, I guarantee you they're going to drop whatever they're doing and they'll take your call.
that's good. That's good. I love that. Yeah, I could go on and on about that. I love the idea of an 18-year-old asking an 18-year-old. That's kind of like a fool asking fool for counsel.
Right. You just haven't seen anything yet.
Sorry.
And so I wish that I had some pretty good mentors in my life. I'm very fortunate that way. But when I look at today, I just don't see a lot of that mentoring happening, or as much as there should be. Because I know so many people that are my age that would love to give back, would love to spend time with a college student, helping them tackle some of these problems that they're having on a college campus. You just need to reach out and just ask for help.
It's such a again a lie to think I've got to do this on my own.
Yeah.
And I just don't. That's the whole idea of community is that, and if get me an interview, it's like, well, it's not me, it's you.
Right.
I needs to be me.
Right.
No, no, no. An interview, an opportunity, that's a door. And your community, your mentors can give me opportunities. And that's where I stand to do my job,
Yeah.
is where success is going to come from.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too. I mean, listen, I have a couple of college kids, and they know that I know a lot of people, right? And so,
Yeah, I
so
bet you
they
do.
they like hesitate to ask for help, and I'm like, that's not a problem. They're like, well, that's just like nepotism. It doesn't feel good to me. And I'm like, no, I'm just helping you along in your path. I wish that I had, a family member like me when I was in college to help me get my first job. It would have made my life so much simpler. All that stress and anxiety about getting my first job would have vanished.
Yeah.
So why not take advantage of those connections?
And
Doesn't
in this
make
and
sense.
in this culture today, you need some open doors,
You need
you
some
know.
open doors. Someone's got to get you
Yeah,
in the door.
it's
Now, at the end of the
competitive out there.
day, this kid's going to have to stand up on their own 2 feet, right? They're going to have to do the work. But
Yeah.
just to open the door and get you an interview, I mean, take that and run with it.
And thank God, wow, this is
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, especially this job market. Boy, it's tough, I tell you. Now, you have some upcoming book releases in early 2026. I'm wondering what some of the readers can expect from you going forward and how they can use these books as a tool for deeper connection in their own families.
Yeah, thank you for that. I'm excited about it. These, I see the book that I'm coming out with here, the seven blessings your family needs from you as tools. There's examples of kind of questions, the examples of things that, activities that granddad needs to do with his grandson, take him fishing, and there's hundreds in there, to give him opportunity to have these conversations. And so these seven blessings, if I'm a college student looking at this, at this book, I could see ideas of things, I really never heard about that from my granddad. And
Mhm.
so I can maybe, the book is targeted to granddads, but anybody looking at that stuff understands, well, this is how things work. I can get granddad to go speak up, and he didn't even know he's doing it. But he's giving me this vision, this voice of vision that I really need. I need some help in this stuff. And I don't, maybe he's wrong, maybe he's right. The bottom line is I need that conversation. So I think that's where, and of course, I've got another book going to follow that, all about building tools to help this intergenerational conversation come alive.
Yeah, well, I'm so glad you're working on that. I think it's so powerful, and I want to explore that relationship a little bit more. I'm like kind of, thinking in my mind over time how I can bring that out in a TEDx talk, the importance of that intergenerational wisdom, and especially for men. I think it's really, really
Especially for
critical.
men. Men
So
don't like
anyway,
to talk.
yeah, they don't
Men
like to
don't like to talk
talk. I
about
mean,
themselves.
yeah, I mean, they spend a lot of time isolated to your point, with your grandkids, playing video games by themselves. And I'm
Yeah.
like, man, oh man, there's missed opportunities here.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, the book is called The Power of Granddad's Voice: Seven Blessings Your Family Needs from You. Really, really good. Designed obviously for the granddad, but I think anybody can learn from this book. So I'm really excited that it's getting out there. Now, I do love good food. That's my weakness, is
Ah,
having really good food. And I do get to Northern Colorado pretty often. A lot of campuses have been hiring me to get out there. So I need to know the next time I'm in Northern Colorado, where should I go for a great bite to eat?
well, there's a place I went to just a couple of months ago that it was new to me, and it's kind of a new place,
Uh-huh.
and it's in Erie, which is between Denver and the airport and the Colorado University in
Perfect.
Boulder. So
Yeah.
that might work out. But it's a place called I think it's Piripi, Piripi, Piripi. And
Perfect.
oh my goodness, it's kind of a Mediterranean-based food.
Yeah.
And just a shock for me in Colorado to have this kind of a cuisine that was really pretty good. And it's kind of a modern, quaint kind of place. So it's pretty cool. I
Well, that's
recommend it.
pretty cool. I like Mediterranean food, so I'm gonna have to go and check that out. Yeah, I always land in the Denver airport, and then we just kind of drive from there. So I think that actually will work out. I think on my next trip. So I'm gonna go check it out, and I'll send you an email, let you know what I think about the food.
Well, and so when you do that, call me and we're gonna go climb Long's Peak while you're here.
All right. I mean, I don't know if I can keep up with you, but I'll try.
Trust me, that's not that hard anymore. I
Okay.
had my day, but slowed down.
You slowed down a little bit. All right. So that's good. That'll be my speed. We'll be now at the same speed.
There we go.
All right. So where can our listeners go in order to learn more about you, your ministry, your upcoming book, all of the things? Where should they go?
Cool. Well, my website is just my name, nickstevensauthor.com. And in there is a men's group of dads talk, just group dads talking to each other. I'm going to start, it's new, but I'm going to be posting some of the stuff that we've talked for the years about in there, and books coming out, anything I'm going to be doing, and podcasts and stuff will be announced there. So that'll be the center of my communication.
That's excellent. I love it. So it's real easy. NickStevensAuthor.com. Go to the website so that way you can keep up with everything that Nick is putting out, including his new book. And of course, we want you to go out and buy that book. It's called The Power of Granddad's Voice: Seven Blessings Your Family Needs from You. Really important lessons here that I think not enough people are talking about. So thank you, Nick, for bringing all of this to the forefront. We appreciate you.
And thank you. It's been a
Of
great
course.
time.
Yes,
Look
very
forward to
good.
it again
Until
sometime.
Absolutely. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this conversation with Nick Stevens, I want you to like it and I want you to share it with other college students that need to rebuild that connection with their families, with their granddads. And I think it'll be very helpful for them. I really do believe that in my heart. So I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. Bye for now.